Hello everyone, and welcome back to Technically Unsure, where I'm not really sure what I'm doing technically.
That's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
So today we are going to take a look at another motherboard actually from Minisforum. This one that I'm talking about, it's called Minisforum BD790i and also BD790i. So they have a couple models with different configuration and different CPU and RAM, and one comes with heatsink, one doesn't. But let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the motherboard. It's the BD790i. Okay, so this is what I bought, and it seems like I paid $389 for AMD Ryzen 9 and SE Mini-ITX form factor, and $389 including taxes and shipping and all that stuff. So computer itself seems like it's $359. Let's take a look at it. It seems like this one comes with AMD Ryzen 9 7945HX, which is like 16 core, 32 threads, boost clock of 5.4, and 64 megabyte 3-level cache. And this one comes with RJ45 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. USB ports are USB 3.2 Gen 2, USB 3.2 Gen 1, CPU header, and all that stuff. So we're going to take a look at it. As I said, this one does not come with a heatsink over here for the NVMe SSD. And this one, IO Shield comes pre-installed. In the back, you will have an RTC battery installed already for you. There is the power connectors for CPU in here, and then also ATX power connection over here. It seems like it is Mini-ITX form, so 17 by 17. Let me confirm. Yep, 17 by 17. So it is 17 by 17 Mini-ITX form. I didn't buy the other one, so the SE one comes with a heatsink over here for SSD, and also I believe something extra for the CPU. Maybe not, maybe this is the standard. Anyway, there is the memory slots over here, dual channel. There is the USB and front panel connections over here, fan headers over here. By the way, these are all PCIe Gen 5, and this one is PCIe Gen 5 X16 and two PCIe Gen 5 M.2 slots. And we will install M.2 SSDs over there, and I'm gonna put some graphics card. Oh, by the way, there are some other mounts, some more screws and stuff in there for fans and things. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is actually, let me clean it up. So what I'm thinking is that because this is a powerful CPU in there, it won't be a justice to put like a 2060 in this PCIe M.2 slot. So I am going to use another GPU that I had laying around. So it is RTX 4070. We will install this in here, connect the power connection, and install some DDR5 RAM. Yeah, we'll start testing Ubuntu and Windows. I will be right back. Okay, so here's my janky setup. I inserted two DDR5 4800 RAM over here, and I inserted two 990 Pro Samsung NVMe SSD, and I connected the front panel CPU, and I laid this Arctic P12 fan over it, and the 4070 is installed right over there. Hopefully nothing will blow up. You see the power consumption over there. So far everything looks okay. There you go. Something is happening. So let me just keep pressing. Oh, it does have that Minisforum BIOS. Let's go to setup first. So processor speed is 2.4. 64 gigabyte RAM is detected. Trusted computing, of course, Windows 11 you can install on this, TPM 2.0, and CPU configuration and X mode enabled, and the ACPI settings, hardware monitor. See, fan is there, and temperatures look fine so far. You know, it's like 42 degrees. AMD overclocking, you can do some overclocking on DDR5, SoC voltage, core. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to boot into Ubuntu and check it out, okay? Okay, so we are back. This is from the previous setup. I just ran GL Mark II. Its GL Mark score is 8500. So what I want to show you is, for instance, the NeoFetch. Okay, so this is Ubuntu 24. I just booted into it, and AMD Ryzen 9 7940 ATI is with the GPU, also NVIDIA GeForce. So 4070 is detected and installed. Everything is working. The memory is there, as 64 gigabyte is detected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a stress NG test. The power consumption went up to 140 watts-ish, and the temperatures rose up to 60 C in here. So that's the highest number I saw. Temperatures to be 60 and the power consumption to be 140 watts. And let's see what we got in the score. Wow, a whopping 675,000. Obviously, this will make a very fast system for almost any sort of gaming. So another thing I want to make sure is the iPerf 3. I want to make sure that it is actually 2.5. So we are getting the exactly 2.5 gigabit Ethernet speeds. And the other thing I want to test is the HD Parm. We are talking about the speed limits of the NVMe SSD, by the way. But as you can see, it's super fast. So now everything is working. What I want to do is actually now install Windows and see and check out the gaming performance. Everything that they're basically selling is already working. What I mean by that is the two NVMe SSDs are detected and working. CPU is working very fast. The heatsink is perfect. When you're not doing benchmarks and everything, it cools down to 37 Celsius. When you're benchmarking and all that, it goes up to like 60. Still cool. By the way, it seems like max is 70. We have hit 70 at some point, not 60. And the power consumption goes up to like 140 when you're using all the CPU. If we do a GL mark as well in this at the same time, GL mark wasn't really using much of a CPU, but when the CPU and GPU benchmark is running at the same time together, it goes up to 200 watts basically. If you have a power supply, that this one that I'm using is actually 750 watts, but I'm sure you should be fine with a 500 watt power supply as well, I think. That's all for now. Let me just install Windows and install some games on it. Let me do that as well. I just want to make sure everything works and fast enough and get some how much frame rates are for certain games, and we take it from there. I will be right back. All right, so the results are in. I fell in love. It's so small, powerful, quiet, and doesn't really draw a lot of power. The benchmark results is just impressive. Just take a look. This is the disk benchmark. It's literally what is advertised on the 990 Pro. So we are officially at the maximum capacity of the SSD. So that's the speeds that you're getting. And then I did a 3D Mark score. So this is for the CPU. You see the numbers, right? I also did GPU test in this 3D Mark. Let's ignore that. Let's go to the Cinebench. And as you can see, we are getting 1778. It's a very capable machine. Let me just show you a little bit on the Forza Horizon. All right, so we are back and this is the Forza Horizon 5, okay? Let me show you the settings, okay? And I set this automatically with the automatic detection in the game itself. So as you can see, almost everything is extreme, high, extreme, ultra, extreme. So this almost everything extreme was automatically detected and set and applied by the game itself. Initially, when you run the Forza Horizon, it does a benchmark and gives you the suggested settings. So with everything almost on extreme, and you see that we are getting a 60 frames per second. You can play $300 for the motherboard with that CPU that comes with it, and you will probably need like $150 for a case, and you need a fan maybe. I'm just using the fan, and you saw the power draw, it goes like 140, and the GPU, this 4070 Super is like, I think like $500, $600, something like that. So 350, 150 for the case, so let's say 500, and say 600 for the GPU, 1100, and let's say 200 for the power supply. So like below 12 to 1400 based on what you're gonna get. You will be able to set up a very capable, powerful gaming computer with this motherboard. Everything they promised, I benchmarked, right? I benchmarked the 2.5 gigabit. I ran and installed Ubuntu. Right now, actually, in this computer that you're seeing, I have dual boot. So I have Ubuntu installed and Ubuntu 24 installed, Windows 11 installed. Every single update for this Windows 11 is also installed. In Ubuntu, we did iPerf, the Sysbench, StressNG, all that stuff, HD Parm test. This was perfect and fast. Same thing in Windows. You saw the disks benchmark, Crystal disk benchmark, CPU benchmark, GPU benchmark. It is very capable machine. So yeah, with less than something around 12 to 1400, I would say max, you should be able to build a computer, a Mini-ITX case, a small computer, small form computer with that small GPU. You should have a very capable computer that you can play almost any game that you like. If you want to see even more, I can actually show you maybe a little bit of Doom. Look at this game, okay? So if we go to the advanced, you will see that everything is ultra. So we are in the ultra settings, and you see the GPU usage, you see the memory usage, CPU usage, the temperatures, everything is there, and the frames are 200. And I know Doom is not really that demanding, but I'm just saying, you know, you can very easily play all sorts of games similar to this at the highest resolution with the highest settings. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I just wanted to show you this. This is the temperatures and everything. And by the way, power consumption when you're playing a game is like 130, 140 watts. And when I was doing benchmarks, similar numbers. That was the numbers I was getting. If I want to show you actually once more, so if we go to home, do a benchmark, let me show you this one. Okay, as you can see, I am running as GPU benchmark. It goes up to 276 watts. This is like kind of cap, right? That's the max you will see it hitting with fan, GPU, CPU, and everything else the system is using, and 2 NVMe SSD and 2 RAM. That's the max. I don't have any other port to populate. So everything populated, that's what we are getting. 275, you call it 300 watts, and that's the performance you're seeing. So that's what you're gonna see when you're doing a GPU benchmark. And as you can see, when you're doing a CPU benchmark, it goes up to 160 watts. That's kind of cap, 160 watts when you're doing CPU benchmarking. And GPU goes to 70, call 300 watts, and that should be more than enough. Okay, I just wanted to show you these numbers as well, so you see the temperatures and you see the power consumption and the performance. As I said, every single thing that they promised is working. Ubuntu also perfectly worked. By the way, I did not install manually any driver in Ubuntu or in Windows. So in Windows, automatically when the Windows 11 login screen showed up, it automatically detected the Ethernet card and Ethernet driver. And then when I booted into Windows 11, a Windows update downloaded and installed every single driver. So I personally didn't install anything on Windows. In Linux, I just had to do apt update and install updates and selected the NVIDIA driver, the latest one, and that was it. I didn't install anything. So big thumbs up to Minisforum on this computer for that very fair price. If you are looking to build a Mini-ITX small computer and put a small GPU like 470 in there, have a very powerful computer for gaming and or workstation, you can absolutely do your every single work in this. And remember, GPU is optional. The motherboard itself does have an HDMI port, so you can use it technically with the built-in HDMI and built-in AMD's graphics. So it's not going to be powerful, but it will get the job done. So let me actually show you that. Give me a couple of minutes. I just noticed I didn't even show you guys the I/O on the motherboard itself. So 2 USB 3.2 ports, HDMI, display port, USB-C port, BIOS reset button, and 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, audio, and the 2 USB 2 ports. Okay, so everything is there. So what I'm gonna show you now is actually just plug in with no GPU. Okay, so we booted. The power consumption is going to be like 80, 90, and when you're doing CPU benchmark, it was going to like 130, 40. That's kind of it. So you can technically run this motherboard as is, right? So with absolutely nothing else, and you will be able to still get a lot of performance out of it without a graphics card. You're not going to be able to play maybe a lot of games, but it will get the job done. So let me actually try something. Okay, as you can see, when you're running a CPU benchmark and no GPU is there, just the motherboard itself with a single fan, that's going to be 140 watts. I just wanted you to see when you're capping the CPU, 140 watts is the max you're going to see for that powerful CPU and the results that you saw from that CPU. Okay, I just wanted to show you that. All right, so we are back and you see it's 100 watts, but remember it's 9 frame, but we are on the extreme settings. Okay, so if you go to the settings, if I go to the advanced and overall, if we reduce it to like medium and save that, we come back to the game. Yeah, kinda, maybe, not really. Okay, so just wanted to show you. I know you can't play it like that, 10 frames and stuttering, but I just wanted to show you that the GPU, although not really perfect, but you can use this machine with no GPU and play simple games like emulation and 4K, 8K video playback. That would be disrespect to benchmark on this. They absolutely would destroy those. But I'm just saying, without any GPU, without installing anything at all, like no GPU, you can still use it as like a workstation or a server. Very powerful. You can install Proxmox on this. As you can see here, there are a lot of cores in there, right? So you will be able to use this very powerful CPU, all the heavy tasks that you have. There's 16 cores and 32 threads, and and caps to 5.4 gigahertz boost. So yeah, this is a very, very powerful motherboard. I just wanted to introduce and show you guys this. By the way, by mistake, I also booted into FreeBSD. I had it on one of the NVMe SSDs from another previous video tests. So it even works, the GPU, the port and everything works with FreeBSD. We tested with Linux and also Windows. All operating system detected almost everything on it, and they are all working fine. And when it's idle and there is no GPU, by the way, it idles at 33, 35, 36 watts. Okay, thanks for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions down below, and I will try to answer them as much as I can. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye for now.